Hey, friends out there, this is Thursday, July 8th, 2021, and it's just about 6:38 and a half here in Northern California in the morning. And as usual, I'll talk about several different things today, but again, I'm trying to keep the series brief as possible. And I'm using mini DV tapes on DV cam mode, and that gives me about 41 minutes, several seconds more than that per tape. So I split that up three ways. But listen, last week I had a little problem uploading, and I discovered it was the video end of the RCA cable. So hopefully I've corrected that. But I apologize for that. Um, you know, I kind of wanted the theme today to be basically the benefits of being nice. I learned a very curious thing from an English professor many years ago when I was a teenager. And he was into the etymology of terms. And one of the terms he talked about was this term nice. And by the way, he was a very nice guy. I really liked this teacher. Um, but he brought that term up probably because it perplexed him so much, it's a curious thing when you get into etymology and you realize that if you are really going to properly understand history, you must understand the devolution or evolution, whichever way you want to look at this thing, of words. In other words, if there's an ancient word, because a lot of words are relatively recent, they're new. We're constantly growing the dictionary. It's all new terms to refine terms and expand on terms, etc., whatever. Just synonyms. So we know that's true. But the way we use terms can be affected acutely. And my mind is reeling at talking about the prospects. I mean, and how this can influence our paradigm, our basic reality. But when you think of a term like anti, we think of, well, we all know what anti means. It means you're opposed to something or you're against something. That's the devolution of a term because it's an ancient term. And originally it simply meant a substitute or a stand-in. I learned that from the Seventh-day Adventist, of all things, it's the church. But they're into keeping the historical records. They think of themselves as the remnant church, or one of them, that has kept, done diligent job in keeping ancient records of history. Because as we all know, to the victor go the spoils. So the most violent through history have been winning this thing. And then they get to rewrite history, tell it the way they want to keep the minions in line. See, it's the same caliber, the same mentality. It's like they have offspring of each other, evil men in high places. But this etymology business, when it comes to the term nice, because I digress there a little, you got to understand that at one time it meant basically you were stupid. If you were nice, you were dumb. You're a dumbass. You're stupid. And we can still see that lingering reality of that word that, oh, well, they're naive, right? They're just stupid. They haven't been around the block. They haven't been hardened yet by the world. They haven't been stabbed in the back enough, right? So we can see that, right? And the well, we could say, well, the Pope, is the Antichrist because he's a substitute or a stand-in for Christ. I'm not saying he's opposed to Christ necessarily. I'm not saying he's against Christ necessarily, but I'm saying that's a substitute. It's a figurehead. It's a stand-in. He plays a symbolic role in Christianity, but Catholicism and Christianity have been at odds with each other throughout history. Yeah, you got to learn your history, friends. If you're going to understand where we are at this point in history, you got to understand that digression or regression of terms, this devolution or evolution, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. And understand that where we are at this point in history is absurd. It's just absurd with the amount of knowledge that we have at our fingertips. All of us are without excuse. So if you don't have the fear of God deeply embedded in the marrow of your very soul, God help you. I do. I'm scared to death of what has to happen for the worm to turn here on earth. Evil men are fat and powerful, and they do not want to relent. They do not want to be rendered irrelevant. They love their relevance. And the way they get it, they take it through violence, through subduing their own conscience, forsaking their own conscience, to have this thing we call money. You understand? And all the accoutrements thereof, both physical and in terms of control, power. The power to manipulate the masses in a very profound, very potent, effective manner. Psychologically, they got us all screwed up, man. I mean, we hardly question it anymore. I don't remember hearing how many times my parents questioned the fact that why are we born with a cost of living that we got to pay somebody else? It's not being paid to us. We know that much. Or else there'd be no point in us paying a cost of living. It's kind of like politicians paying their taxes. Well, they just pad them. They say, well, I'm not paying this. Give me a raise. Let's vote for a raise for ourselves in Congress or Senate. Those legislators. See how sick and twisted our society is? A democracy, a republic, capitalism, socialism. It's evilism. That's the rule of the day, folks. The one thing Jesus said to do, we're all not doing it. We're not abiding by the golden rule. We're not loving each other. We're as the way that we're told we need to please God. I mean, loving people is easy. Liking them is another story. I mean, we all think about people from time to time that we've known in the past. I mean, I really like that person. Otherwise, when we think about them, we can just, if they were our enemy, and they did something very offensive to us and slighted us in some manner, then we can just bless them and pray for them, because you don't want them living in your head, okay, with resentments and grudges and anger and all that crap. Life's too short for that crap. Be nice. Life's short. You think I'm perfect? I'm as human as they get. Weak, pathetic. I'm fallen. I have a sin nature. That's my human nature. You have it as well. We're stuck here, all of us. We should have a lot of empathy for each other in a body of death for all intents and purposes. Today might be our last day on earth. That's not being negative or morbid. That's simply being scientific. It's simply being logical. And that's what I like to try to convey to people. Just how profoundly our reality can be affected by evil men, because they are the ones drafting the policies that they impose on us. They force us to live under. They like us divided. They like us discombobulated. They like us disempowered. They don't want us unified, of one mind, and determined in an unstoppable manner to have justice on earth. But that's precisely what God is telling his friends. You call yourself God's friend? You say, I'm your servant of my own free will and accord. I wouldn't have it any other way. I see the value of my soul, my honor, my integrity, my conscience. I want to go to a better world, because this crap hole blows chunks, man. It sucks to high heaven, okay? And it's already hard enough being born human and have all this organic crap that we all have to contend with across the board that stems from the original sin, the fall of man, and the subsequent curse. People have to know their origins. God was sorry he made you. Do you understand? He was sorry he made me, because we've always existed in the mind of God. Even whatever Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden was a metaphor, whatever. We know right from wrong. We have free will choice because we're made in the image and likeness of God. And we know when we choose wrong. And we can't hide. We can hide it from everybody else and ourselves. We can lie to ourselves and deceive ourselves and delude ourselves and everybody else. And we do that regularly. I believe we're born masters of self-deceit. But there's one we won't BS. The one that owns us. That's the Creator God Almighty. That's a fact. Everything is laid bare to Him. He knows what your values are. So if you try to say, I'm not a money lover, He knows your heart. He sees secretly how you feel about money. So He knows your values, what's important, what's pertinent to you, and what isn't. And are you in sync with His values? Are you seeing eye to eye with Him? Do you get it? Do you get the importance, the imperative nature of this about eternal salvation, where we're going from here? Because what's the one thing He can't put up for forever? Just like any parent that's got 8 billion children. If they can't get along with each other, you got to decide to separate them at some point. Okay, because you got half of them are bullies and willing, they're at least on the side with the bullies. They're willing to do certain things that the other kids are not willing to do because they value their relationship with their parents, God Almighty, their conscience, our umbilical cord to God. It's a failsafe He built in to protect us so we can see this is about eternal salvation. This is where we're going from here, at least, because eternity is comprised of but a series of seamless moments. That's it. That's it. This is your eternity. We're stuck with it. There is no death. We need to have the same perspective, the same perception as the Creator God Almighty, of one mind, to get it, to see through His eyes, be willing to lay all our false beliefs down and see through His eyes and be pure of heart and say, God, if that's the way You want it, God, make me want it. Do whatever it takes. Break me in every way You can. Discipline me. Convict me. Give me that compunction that's going to make me change from a life of debauchery. Okay, and all about money. It's the money. Not enough preachers harp on this, man. It's the love of money. It's the root of all evil. It's what gives evildoers power in this world. Do you understand? I mean, it can't be there in a better world. If you expect to inherit a better world, you need to prepare your heart and mind, your spirit, your soul, your body, every aspect of your life for the world of tomorrow. And that world cannot contain any form of money at all. So you figure it out, just like every other creature of far lesser intelligence figured that out from the onset. What is wrong with us? We need to ask ourselves